Hello, Now Playing listeners. This is Arnie, co-host of Now Playing, and I wanted to just take a moment, make a video, and talk to you directly about something that's been going on with our show. As you know, we are a completely listener-supported podcast. It is you guys who have donated and supported our show that allows us to keep going week after week. We have no sponsors, we have no ads, and I just want to thank you for your support. But I wanted to address some concerns, some misconceptions, and things going on about one of those methods of support, and that is Podbean. Many years ago, we switched our podcast over to Podbean as our hosting service because we evaluated them thoroughly, and they seemed like the best place to offer our podcast to our listeners. They offered a lot of very cool ways that we could offer podcasts that we couldn't on our own. They had a patron program where we could have monthly patrons and be able to reward those patrons with bonus shows. They had the ability for us to take older episodes and offer those up as individual donation episodes or pay per episode methods of getting the older shows that we had previously had to keep in a vault and had no way to get out there. And they had an annual subscription option, which was very cool, that allowed people to get access to our entire backlog of shows for a single annual fee. When we looked at their system, we tested their system, this seemed like the best all-in-one solution for you, our listeners, and for us as podcasters. It seemed to be a good one-stop place to go. Now, after several years of having a great success with Podbean and being partners with Podbean, they're changing their system. They're redesigning their website, both on the back end, which is what I use to upload the podcasts, and on the front end, which is what you use to listen to the podcasts. Now, this change is, I suppose, an upgrade for them in many ways. It certainly looks cleaner, looks better, but there are two things that are going away. The first is the annual subscription program. I saw this coming a while back. We stopped offering an annual subscription program because I saw that Podbean's new interface didn't allow us to upload annual episodes anymore. And so rather than have somebody pay for an annual subscription and then Podbean cut it off mid-year, I removed that. So we no longer have that annual support option. So the next change, it only applies to people who have purchased individual episodes from us. If you're a part of the Podbean patron program, absolutely nothing is changing. That's going to stay exactly like it is if you're a monthly supporter. But if you're someone who liked to pick the episodes a la carte, you didn't want to do a full donation drive, you'd wait and pay a little bit more per episode, but get the episodes one by one through Podbean, their new system is changing and deprecating that functionality. It's not going away completely, but it's not going to be like it was either. Their interface that they have now, the new one, doesn't allow us to upload new shows for individual purchase. This happened all of a sudden the week of Evil Dead Rise. We expected to be able to offer that podcast up the same as we have all our other podcasts, where people who just want to listen to Evil Dead Rise could go and for an individual purchase price be able to get that show. We are no longer able to upload episodes in that way, and so no new episodes going forward will be available for individual purchase. Again, if you're in the patron program, nothing changes. If you're doing individual episodes, that's what's changing. We're no longer going to be able to offer those through Podbean. We are looking into other methods that we might be able to offer individual podcasts in the future. We're evaluating other systems. We've got some ideas. We want to make sure that this is fully vetted before we ask you guys to start using it and start spending money. So we have no timeline. We don't have a specific solution in mind yet, but we will keep you informed because we would like to find a non-Podbean alternative where we can still offer these episodes. But for now, Podbean just isn't an option for this. The second point of this change is, as part of their new web interface, Podbean removed the download link from the individual purchase podcast page. So if you're somebody who likes to listen to a podcast once, you paid us for the episode, you listened to the episode, you don't want to go back and revisit it, you have nothing to worry about. You've listened to the episode, I hope. I hope you've enjoyed the episode, and that's the end of that. But if you're somebody who wants to re-listen to the episodes or archive the episodes so that you can get to them later, having that download link was a great way that you could download it to your computer and be sure that you had that episode. They remove that link, so now through the website you can only stream the episode, or of course you can use the Podbean app and listen through that. Now that they no longer have the download button, and I can no longer upload new episodes for individual purchase, then the question has become, what is the future of those episodes? And one of Podbean's technical support people has told one of our listeners, and this was posted in our Facebook listener group, that as of December, you will no longer be able to access your individually purchased episodes through Podbean. It's not entirely accurate. I have been in constant contact with Podbean, emailing them daily, and I wanted to get everything ironed out as best I could before I came to you, our listeners, with an update. The person I've been speaking to at Podbean is named Melody. After some communication back and forth, Melody has said that you will still have access to any individually purchased episodes. However, you will only be able to access those bonus episodes through the Podbean app. You will no longer be able to listen through their web interface once that change happens December of this year, 2023, probably at the latest. Now, what can we at Now Playing do about that? Our hands are somewhat tied. I mean, for us, Podbean is to us what iTunes or Amazon is to a movie studio. A movie studio makes a movie, and then they give it to iTunes and to Amazon and whoever, and then you can purchase the movie. But if iTunes changes their access, then the studio can't do anything about that. You can't go to Disney and say, iTunes has changed how I access Ant-Man Quantumania, and Disney has no control over the iTunes platform. We have no control over the Podbean platform. So we have tried to work with Podbean. We feel we've been a very loyal customer to Podbean. We've been featured by Podbean's social articles and blogs. Hopefully, we have a bully pulpit with which we can speak to Podbean and get them to listen. However, these changes that they're making seem pretty set in stone. And so, as much as I've pleaded with them, it doesn't seem like they're going to keep the web access for these episodes or replace the download link. But if you paid for an individual episode, you'll still be able to get it through the Podbean app. And that is for the foreseeable future. Nothing is forever. Technology is always changing. I can't guarantee you that in a year, 2 years, 3 years, Podbean won't revise their app and remove that functionality. But according to Melody at Podbean, you will still be able to access your bonus podcasts, individual episodes, through the app. Now, some people have asked, why don't we cut ties with Podbean? Why don't we take a stand and say, okay, Podbean, we don't like what you're doing, so we're going to go away from you? Well, we're kind of tied in that because if we remove our account, then all the episodes you've purchased and all the episodes through the Patreon program go away. If we delete those episodes that we have offered for purchase, we're removing those files off the server, you lose your access. So we can't just delete our Podbean account. We can't even delete the episodes for purchase. I personally don't want any of our listeners to do any more individual episode purchases through Podbean, not because we don't need your support. We greatly need your support now more than ever because of these Podbean changes, but because if I remove those episodes, then the people who have paid for them in the past will no longer be able to get them. So what am I doing? Well, we at Now Playing, me and I've talked to Stuart, Jacob, Brock, Justin, Marjorie, all of us have conferred on this. We are taking steps to try to limit this. So we're putting warnings on all of our pay-per-episode listings. You can see it here. We're saying, don't buy this episode. We can't guarantee you'll be able to download it from Podbean. More, we're raising the price to $1,000 an episode, hoping nobody buys these episodes. I mean, $1,000 is insane to pay for an episode, and we're able to raise the price of the episodes without impacting the access of those who already paid the $2, $3, $4, $5 for the episode. And if you did purchase those episodes already, thank you for your support. And I hope this shows we're trying to give you support as well. We try to be as good to our listeners as our listeners are to us every time. So again, this doesn't impact the patron program at Podbean. And if you only want to listen to an episode once and you're done with those episodes, thank you for your support. Hope you enjoyed the show and you don't have to do anything. If you do want to listen to the episode again in the future, think you might, there are some steps you can do. You can, of course, use the Podbean app, but as long as you can still listen through their website until Podbean takes that functionality down, you can still download them, but you've got to be a bit of a power user. There's not just going to be a link anymore that says download and go. There's two ways that you can do this. The first is if you use Google Chrome, there's developer tools. So you go to the page that has your bonus episode. Here, this page is for Piranha. You right-click and go to Inspect. This is going to bring up some gobbledygook web code on the right side of your page. Let me make this a little bit bigger here. Give me just a second. And what I'm searching for is MP3 because the podcast is an MP3 file. So, all right, it's a little bigger. I'm searching for MP3 here. You can see the search button at the bottom. And my third choice here, I finally see a hyperlink. This is the link to the MP3. Now, you have to be logged into Podbean and have purchased the episode to even use that link. But if you purchase the episode, you're logged into Podbean, open a new tab, it plays the podcast, right-click, do Save As, and you can save this episode as an MP3 to your computer. So that is one way that you are still able to download the MP3s. It's a bit of a hacky way of doing it. It's not the most convenient, but this will let you back up your purchases, will let you continue to access these podcasts and play them indefinitely. We always recommend, whether you donate to us directly or whether you go through Podbean, Patreon, whatever you do, that you back up your purchases because, again, the internet is ever changing. Nothing is forever. We're offering the access for as long as we can, however we can. But if you want to be able to listen in the future, the best way to ensure you can do that is download these MP3s to your system and keep them there so you can listen in the future. A second way to download, it's a little bit easier. I'm not as familiar with it. I got this information from one of our listeners, is a program called JDownloader. Again, you have to be logged into Podbean. You have to have purchased the episode, but then you just click the link in that page, go to JDownloader, go to the link grabber tab, paste that link, and then over here on the right, there's all kinds of files. Uncheck everything except audio file. Then you expand that. There's the link to the MP3. Now, this application will ask you to sign in, use your Podbean username and password, and then click Start All Downloads. It is going to download that MP3 file from Podbean onto your computer. So JDownloader, if you don't want to get into web code and all of that, is a little bit easier. Now, these are still somewhat hacky ways to get the episodes and download them to your computer. And unfortunately, because of the number of listeners we have, we can't provide technical support for these methods. Provided a couple demos here. Hopefully they help you. But if you have questions about this, please join our Facebook listeners group, because there, other listeners who are using these methods already may be able to answer your question, and listeners can help listeners so that you guys can download these episodes. And if you want to download these episodes, I do it as soon as possible, because Podbean has indicated that December 2023 or sooner, access to these episodes will be going away. So as long as you can still get to them through the web browser, these methods will allow you to get the MP3s, download them, and back up your purchases. We want to make sure that you guys who have spent your hard-earned money supporting us don't lose that. We've been trying to work with Podbean for that. There will be the app in the future, but this is a way you can use your desktop computer, laptop computer, what have you, to get these episodes. Now, also, in regards to Podbean, we're not happy with these changes. We're not happy with how they've gone about doing these changes without communication with us, without notification to us, and without working with us any more than they have to make it so that you guys can get your episodes and keep your episodes. So if you're on the Podbean patron program, consider taking a look at our Patreon. It's the exact same thing, and it's over at patreon.com. And the great thing is, if you are a Patreon patron, you can use any app that uses custom RSS feeds. You can use the Apple Podcasts app. You can use RSS Radio. Anything that lets you put in a custom RSS feed, you can use with Patreon. Whereas with Podbean, if you're a patron, you're limited to the Podbean app. If you're still wanting to use Podbean for the Patreon program, we're not going to take that away. We love you guys who are supporting us through that and have supported us through that for years and years. And you guys are our lifeblood. The Patreon through Podbean has kept us going more than anything else, even though the numbers on that page are actually broken. I will be transparent and say it says we're making over $10,000 a month. That is a bald-faced lie. We are not making anywhere close to that number. We've tried working with Podbean again to get them to reflect an accurate number on that page. Have not had a chance to where they have actually changed it to show the actual income we have. So there's that too. We're not as flush as Podbean makes us seem. But if you're a Podbean patron, you can consider Patreon. But we're not going to stop using the Podbean Patron program because you guys are our loyal subscribers, and we want to keep delivering the content where you are. We don't want to pull the plug on one and make you go to another. If you're comfortable with Podbean, you're happy with Podbean, and you're a patron, nothing changes for you. If you use Patreon, you get all the same benefits at the same price. You just have to use a different podcast app than Podbean. So I hope that clears things up. Again, my points here are you will still be able to access individually purchased episodes, but it will be through the Podbean app after the end of this year. Methods where you can download your bonus podcasts using your desktop or laptop computer if you want to keep them for later. And most of all, thank you for your support of Now Playing. It means the absolute world to every single one of us that you guys use your hard-earned money to keep our show going. We legitimately couldn't without you, and we try to be as good to you guys as you are to us. If you have questions, you can always email show@nowplayingpodcast.com. If you want a faster response, again, the Now Playing Facebook group, listeners are able to provide questions faster than we are able to answer them by email, but in the Facebook group, other listeners may have the answers to the questions you're asking. So we really request that you start there and email us if you need to. We're always happy to support you because you guys have supported us for so long. And we have no intent of stopping. We have a huge year planned. Stuart has 2024 already outlined in the schedule, looking at 2025. As long as you guys keep supporting us, we're going to keep podcasting because we love doing it. So thank you for your time. Thank you for your support. And I hope you have a great day and that this answered some of your questions.